We definitely can. Well, you're both centred, yeah?
I'm centred. You centred?
I'm centred.
Sweet. Right, hi guys. It's Chris and Jacob here from the golf club at Broadstone Golf Club. Custom Golf Performance is our kind of name of the studio and shop kind of business with Adrian Harris there. Just wanted to put a little something together for you, just so we could kind of keep ourselves entertained as much as anything. Do you think?
I think so. Yeah. First little kind of little podcast thing that we're setting up should be trying to keep it a little more consistent. Maybe do it once a week. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think I personally watch quite a lot of things online, and obviously we want to try and give something a little bit different and something sort of personally to the people we know, as well as sort of branching out a little bit around within the industry, and really just to kind of get a couple of topics that we might come in upon request, as well as kind of things that interest us. So we'll be talking a lot about different coaches and coaching styles, equipment, products coming out, reviews on those kind of things, as well as kind of
obviously we're both we've both obviously just hopefully about to come out of our foundation degree at the PGA. So we've learned a lot over the last 3 years. It's good to kind of chuck that out there and into people that might be interested in that kind of thing. So any questions, feel free to fire them our way as well, and we can talk about it on here. It's a good platform for us, really.
Yeah, I think kind of one of the things that I wish I had a little bit more of when I started the PGA was maybe something along these lines where maybe you could get a bit of more of an idea of what was involved within the degree, and that kind of thing for a first year or second year or even a third year, to kind of give some stories, if you like, or opinions on what was hard, what was easy, what was kind of what we would be prepared a little bit better for, that kind of stuff. So maybe that'll come up. But as well as obviously we're pretty flexible. So I think sort of what the PGA degree does really well is teaches you quite a little bit about a lot of different subjects. So we've got a pretty good, and obviously within our sort of roles within the pro shop, you deal with quite a lot of different kind of things. You got quite a bit of marketing going on, hosting events.
Yeah, quite lucky down at Broadstone with everything we got going down there. We got the studio, we got the pro shop, we've got a great golf course, top 100 golf course. We've always got lots going on in the operations down there. So we see a lot. Me, you, and the guys in the shop. We can talk a lot of experience from that, I guess. Yeah.
So it would be it's really just to kind of to try and give ourselves a little bit of a focus as well. Obviously we're recording this during COVID-19 lockdown.
Bit of a weird time.
Hopefully we can kind of look back on this as the first one and we'll remember kind of getting through it and what we did to go about it and that kind of thing, really. But I guess we'll start with, just for the people who don't know, what's your kind of your golfing background then, Jacob? What's your kind of brief story?
My golfing background came into it quite late. I was about 12, 13.
Really late.
I played football up until then, and I was always a little bit too fat, so waddle around the pitch and not do much. So I decided to take up a game where it was a little bit less taxing. Obviously, the game's going a little bit more athletic now, so I've had to kind of change the shape a little bit. So I joined Cavan Magna, got my first handicap of 11, so I improved pretty quickly. Became junior captain there, all that kind of stuff. Carried on playing. Obviously, for you guys, if you're listening, you don't know what Cavan Magna is. It was a massive 45-hole golf complex with a huge driving range. Unfortunately closed down about 4 or 5 years ago now, Chris.
Yeah.
And so needed to obviously find a new golf club. Dotted around a few places, but settled at Broadstone. Managed to get down to a 1 handicap at Broadstone. when I kind of started a new score, I was looking at my options. Obviously, love competing, love playing golf. My goal was to obviously play on some kind of tour one day. So the only way I could really carry on playing is if I turned pro, earning money through the shop, teaching, having great accessibility through the PGA to play tournaments on the West region and in the country. So I turned pro, asked AD Harris, our boss, for a job, and luckily he accepted. And here's where we are today, nearly 3 years down the line. I love every minute of it. So,
and you've played quite a lot, haven't you? Up the first couple of years within the whilst doing the degree and working in the shop, and
it's been
decent level.
Pretty hectic couple of years. I had quite a good few good finishes, and I just love it. I love traveling around the country, love playing, love competing, love learning about my game, all that kind of stuff. So, the PJ degree, I think, has definitely helped me with that as well. Being able to learn about my game, learn about where I can pick up shots and whatnot, it's been brilliant, really.
And played a few Euro Pro as well?
Yeah. So luckily enough, not through any of my past playing kind of experiences, I managed to get a few sponsor invites onto the Euro Pro last year.
Just sort of right place, right time kind of situation.
It was a little bit, yeah. I knew one of the headline sponsors that actually sponsored the Euro Pro, and he kindly offered me a few spaces, and great experience. Didn't play that great, but it taught me a lot about me as a golfer, as the tournaments and those standards will. And looking to push on up through the ranks in the next few years or so, especially now I've got a little bit less time on my hands with the PGA degree.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah. How about yourself, Chris? We all know your stories.
Just trying to keep it brief, but
pretty good player, Chris is.
All started when I was a kid, really. I think when we look back on one of those first assignments where it was about coaching into golf and how you deal with that kind of thing, I think it was like 70 or 80% of kids who start golf are introduced by a family member, and I was much the same. It's a pretty classic story. My dad always played. My mum and dad are both Scottish. All my extended family live up in Scotland, and me and my mum and my brother would go up to Scotland in the summer holidays, and we'd have like a month up there just staying up with my grandma, and she used to live literally, you couldn't get closer to a first tee at a little golf course called Kinghorn in Scotland. And
pretty cool little links course, isn't it, if I'm right?
Oh, it's a real quirky, funky little linksy layout, right in the middle of a sort of town centre, village centre, really. It's a tiny little like seaside village,
like a mini St Andrews.
Yeah, it's not far from St Andrews. It's in Fife. It's like half an hour along the road, and it's just a real quirky, funky little layout. And we used to go and play, and they used to have there was a 4-hole loop, and the first tee used to go up 2 and 3 with 2 par 3s in a row, and then 4 would come back to the clubhouse. So we would always go up, and me and my brother would go up and play the first 4, and my mum and my grandma could see every hole from the house. So obviously knew where we were, and we'd just go around those first 4 over and over again.
What kind of age were you around that time that you started?
We used to go up like every year through till we were probably like 13, 14. So like from like literally from babies all the way through to kind of teenage years. I guess we probably stopped doing summer holidays up there as sort of for a long period of time. But yeah,
kind of around that age you were playing at where?
I was 13, 14, So then, when the teenage years kind of went from Southampton Golf Club where I grew up, and then along to Stoneham, and got to a reasonable kind of standard, Category 1 kind of standard around 15, 16. Then had a couple of little wild years in there from sort of 17 to 19, 20, where I still played, but like a lot of stories. Like a lot of people's stories, you end up, maybe doing things, you wasting your time basically in regards to golf.
That's what you do.
Yeah, spent all my time kind of, in the pubs when I shouldn't have been in pubs, and the rest of the time I just
practicing.
Yeah.
You had quite a few good victories in that kind of age
Yeah,
category.
like
A few club championships and stuff.
Yeah, I sort of rededicated myself a little bit more when I was like 18, 19, 20, I guess. And around that sort of time, and I spent 6 months out in New Zealand, travelled and played, and came back 2010, and I'd won a few club championships, and then came back and won a couple of amateur events, one up at Carnoustie, which is obviously had to get that one in. But
had to get that one in.
Yeah, won a few decent things, and then carried on. Worked for TaylorMade for 4 years. Came back once I got back from New Zealand. Worked for TaylorMade for 4 years, fitting and doing the demo days for them, which was great. Traveling across the country, sort of doing that, and then started at Broadstone after that. So 2014, joined Broadstone as a member. Met my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. She lived down in the Bournemouth area. So ended up kind of just slowly gravitating down to this area, and joined Broadstone first. And the previous pro left, Adi took over, and I was quite good friends and kind of had a bit of a working relationship with the guys in the shop through my connection at TaylorMade anyway. And when Adi started, he asked if I wanted to come on and sort of take a bit of control with the custom fitting side of things. And then I did say I'll try and keep it brief. Hopefully, it's not too long-winded.
You're a bit older than I am, so you've got more to say.
To cover 10 years on you. From there, basically, I was fitting a lot, and lots of people were asking for lessons and wanted to kind of book my time for using TrackMan and FlightScope and that kind of thing for teaching purposes, which I did, but kind of always knew, niggling in the back of my head, was the fact that I kind of needed something behind me to kind of be able to back up my advice, if you like. And so that sort of prompted me to start a PGA degree, and obviously coming into it a little bit later, as I think's been helpful for me, because I've got to make
seen a lot.
I'm kind of that.
It's interesting you say that. Actually, over the last 3 years, I was surprised at how many people slightly older than I was were actually doing the degree. There's a lot more old people than I thought there would be.
Yeah,
I think the game's going in that way now, where amateur golf is is definitely becoming a little bit bigger, so that people stay amateur for longer.
Yeah.
And their option to turn pro is a little bit later on. So that's another interesting one to talk about maybe in the future.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's probably a lot of people as well. Yeah, like you say, who give it a go, playing for sort of 4 or 5 years, and then decide, as a backup, I'll do my PGA because I've got nothing else.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, which is always a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Because it's like you know their heart's maybe not quite in it as much as maybe someone who wants to do the degree in order to coach.
I think that's a great thing. Looking at it in a broad kind of perspective, the PGA offers so many different avenues for your business or your career, that you don't have to settle down on coaching or retail or playing on custom fitting straight away. You can branch out into so many different areas, which is brilliant, really.
Yeah, like I say, it's giving you a little bit, teaching you a little bit about a lot of different subjects, isn't it? So maybe we're just about to qualify and we're fully excited. Maybe you are someone 30 years down the line, sort of. What I think it might be a little bit different, but from my experience of it is been pretty positive, and I'm really chuffed that I kind of bit the bullet and started to do it, because I think it's been great for me. So, so that's cool. Obviously, within this kind of period, we've been away from the golf club or any golf club for
5 weeks nearly.
5 weeks in now.
Yeah.
What have you been sort of doing to help your golf in this period? Have you been doing much? I mean, there's been a big variation of kind of different approaches and that kind of thing. And what are you missing about being at the club and playing and that kind of thing?
So personally, for me, my back garden, you can't really see it from the angle there. It's not the biggest, no grass, so I haven't really been able to hit any ball. Well, I haven't been able to hit any balls at all. Luckily, I managed to get my hands on a putting mat, one of the putt-out mats that was selling down at the golf club at the moment. So I got my hands on one of those. Been rolling that out most nights, most days, just trying to get, just trying to stay in the loop. Really, don't want to really fall back too much in terms of my golf performance. I've been trying to keep on top of my fitness. So, normally out of this lockdown, we've all got very hectic lifestyles, working, playing, all the other stuff, family stuff. So didn't really have lots of time to keep on top of my fitness, but using my hour of exercise a day, I've been going down to the golf club, doing a little 3 or 4 mile run. We've got a little group chat going within the golf club, and there's a little competition who can run around the course the quickest. So not quite there yet, but I'm coming for you if you're watching.
Nice. I'm going for a run today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been building up. It's 3:15 now. I've been building up to it all day. But my wife started going out, so she's like guilt tripped me into doing it. So
it's good. I think it's not. You can look at it whatever way you like, but it gets you out of the house for your hour. Secondly, it probably puts you in a better frame of mind for when you're back in the house. You've been out, you've done your exercise.
Yeah. Breaks up the day.
I've been. Yeah, absolutely. I know that me, trying to learn as much as we can through different podcasts, different, video meetings and whatnot. What have you been doing, Chris? You've been watching for quite a few stuff.
Pretty busy, yeah. I mean, trying to just keep a bit of structure to the day, really. So, like, how it kind of panned out, our this lockdown period was like bang in where our exam period was going to be.
Yeah.
So, like, the first we were kind of waiting to hear on what was going to be going on with our exams. At first we were kind of notified that they were all going to be switching to online exams. So I was kind of the first like 2.5 weeks, I was like just cracking on with revision for that, expecting to do them online, and kind of I was actually, I don't know if anyone can really enjoy revision, but I was like taking a couple hours a day to like just go over some notes, make some notes, and that kind of gave it quite a nice little structure. Then we were notified that we weren't going to be doing those exams, so that kind of put me back a little bit. But we did an online exam last Friday, which was sort of something to sort of build towards and base it around. So I was kind of working around getting prepared for that. And then there's just been an unbelievable amount of essentially sort of free information out there and free things to get involved in, and content that people are creating. There's been some amazing things on Instagram that I've kind of followed. Andrew Rice's series where he had about 20 coaches, sort of 2 a day every day. So I would kind of go out for a walk and plug my headphones in, take the kids out and stuff, and get involved with them. Our buying group Foremost have done some pretty good sort of video sort of group calls with Titleist yesterday and Mizuno the week before, a couple of weeks before. They've been really good. I've been reading a lot, read some pretty good books, finished a couple of decent books that I've been meaning to finish for ages.
Any recommendations for the guys at home?
I've read, it's kind of torture really, because I've been reading a book called A Course Called Scotland. Nostalgic trip from a guy called Tom Coyne. He's the I think he's like the editor of the Golfer's Journal, which is quite a kind of surf magazine-y, kind of arty golf book, like a bit of a woke golf book, golf magazine,
like a philosophical kind of book.
Yeah, sort of. It's just it's great. Like it's really good. It's just like a really refreshing like magazine to have. It's not like glossy with like golf tips or anything like that. It's just like focuses on amazing golf courses and old stories of golfers and golf architects and coaches and that kind of stuff. It's just brilliant, like really good. And they have like guest writers and stuff who come in and do a little bit each month. And so anyway, he's written 2 golf books as far as I know. I think he's writing another one. He's written a course called Ireland, a course called Scotland, and a course called America. I think he's writing at the moment. And basically the Ireland one, he walks the entire Irish coastline and plays golf along the way, and he walks with his golf bag and his luggage From I haven't read it. I've ordered it, but I've not read it. But yeah,
I have heard of that.
Plays the stories, and then he does the same a course called Scotland. He doesn't walk it; he drives. He plays a couple. He actually plays a couple of courses in the southwest. He plays a couple of Cornish ones as well.
Oh yeah.
He goes and plays
Anadoc.
Yeah, I think he plays St George. First, he plays St George's, and I think he plays Rye and Quartz and a few on the southeast coast, and then goes southwest and plays Trevose and Anadoc. I think he plays Perranporth. And then goes up to Scotland and literally he plays Kinghorn, where I was saying about my grandma. So he has like a little snippet, a little story from each one, and obviously meets people on the way, and it's great.
Recommend it to everyone then.
It's brilliant, yeah, and it's really made me want to play a load of links golf as well, and like for anyone who likes travel and golf, which I think is most people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and also just for me, like really interesting that he builds up to play an open qualifying. He's a scratch golfer.
Oh, cool.
So he builds up, and I think his last round, which I haven't sort of got to yet, but I've been dipping in and out of it for a little while. But his last round is building up to playing an open qualifying. So
which unfortunately we won't get a chance to do this year.
No, exactly,
because of the obvious.
Yeah,
which is a shame.
But that's a really good one. And dipping in and out of a couple of other ones. Ordered a couple of other ones as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So other than that, my own golf. Yeah, I've done little bits and bobs. Every now.
Your little boy likes his golf, doesn't he?
Yeah, Henry's mad keen, and we're quite lucky. We've got a nice little green out the back of our garden, so we've got like a 80-90 yard sort of communal grass area, which
full 9-iron for you, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, is at the minute, but that's something that at least you can go out and pitch and stuff. So I reckon I hit like 40-50 pitches a day on a normal.
That's cool.
Normal day, especially with the weather being so good. So,
as if your pitching needs to get any better.
I know. Yeah. Well, I had new wedges arrive like just before we kind of came into this. So kind of I like pounded them completely, almost like not even had them on the golf course. And I've hit like thousands of shots with them. So they should be nicely bedded in by the time
primed.
By the time we get back.
Very good.
Yeah. That's kind of all I've been up to, really.
Nice.
And with the sort of speculation now, I don't know if I've just read something from the kind of, I guess, the governing bodies, EGU, PGA, Foremost and TGI have been involved in it and stuff as well. Yeah. A proposal for kind of when golf does come back, possibly looking kind of middle of May, hopefully. Like I've heard the 11th and the 15th of May.
I've heard that from quite a few sources now. Yeah, 15th. Anywhere from the middle of May onwards looks pretty likely.
I think. What sort of changes have you heard about that? You know, that's going to come into action. Do you think, or what sort of?
It's going to be tough for the golf industry for sure. Unfortunately, we're an industry that requires, especially in our trade at a pro shop, quite a lot of footfall. We're a top 100 golf course, luckily, so we always have quite a few visitors coming through to play our course. The pro shop, we obviously operate a very, very high spec custom fitting kind of experience with our studio, Trackman Studio. So not having that is going to be pretty tough. Whether we can get around that in some kind of way, maybe going back outside onto the driving range for the time being, just to keep our distance, might be an option. But it's definitely going to be one of those things where social distancing is going to have to stick around for a little bit. So meaning one person in the shop at every time, and it's going to be tough. But just getting back out on the golf course is going to be the priority for us and for our members.
I think.
What do you think? You got anything that you reckon?
Yeah, again, just much the same really. I think custom fitting, I think, is quite a long way off. Certainly in the studio, demo clubs and stuff are maybe a little bit easier, but like actual sort of face-to-face custom fit when you're passing clubs and balls and that kind of stuff around is going to be difficult. I think our studio is big enough so you could socially distance within the studio. You sort of think, well, if we stood over where the computer is, you could have someone coming in
hitting over there,
hitting, and you know, they if they only touch the golf ball kind of thing, then you're going to be able to stay pretty safe. But
remember when we, before we went into this lockdown, we were pretty good with it all, weren't we? Wiping down after every single fitting or lesson, making sure the clubs are wiped down, balls, tees and whatnot. So it's definitely doable. It's just going to be tough.
Yeah, I think definitely after the lockdown, people are going to take it a lot more seriously. Before, I think there was still a little bit of oh, it's not going to touch me kind of thing. It's still a long way off. This is all a little bit over the top kind of thing. We still had members coming in saying those kind of things, and I'd say that was the same across the whole industry, which is why everyone had to go to lockdown. So kind of, I don't know if it was early. It wasn't early at all, was it really? But
quite abrupt end,
it felt but it wasn't. But it felt that kind of way. But I think coming out of it and getting back into golf, I think you will see kind of, you know, people have got accustomed to not being close to each other and not speak, you know, not coming too close in terms of contact and that kind of thing. So I think you will see people take it a fair bit more seriously. I think it's pretty common knowledge that it's not just going to be a return to normal golf, no competitions. I can't see there being many events being played at golf clubs. I don't know where that leaves professional events. Who, you know, nobody really knows. There's talk of PGA Tour, isn't there?
It's so tough. You just got to go by what the governing bodies say, haven't you?
I think
you can't take it any matters into your own hands.
Is it easier or harder for like a PGA event to take place, which probably isn't got a massive field normally? You know, especially if you did like a regional kind of thing, you could potentially set up those with 30, 40, 50 people max in the field and not be that sort of dangerous, if you like. But again, you look at like club medals and that kind of stuff's going to probably be pretty tricky. And I think like one of the big things kind of after sitting in a couple of video calls with like the Foremost group and that kind of thing, it's just managing how people get around golf clubs and golf courses is going to be kind of tricky, just because of the social distancing and the way that people need to move around a golf club. Hopefully that's kind of tough. You know, something that they can deal with pretty quickly, but we're certainly going to have to think about just little things like, you know, where they can gather before they go, or they can't gather before they go out to the first tee. It's not going to be like you roll up congregating on the putting green and stuff like that. And, you know, we're looking probably no clubhouses, no pro shops, you know, whether us as pros need to, you know, be out on the course kind of marshalling a little bit more, whether we can still do lessons, all that kind of stuff is, you know, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a slow kind of burn into getting back to normal, if you like.
Yeah, and it's good to see all of the governing bodies from all the different regions of golf, you know, greenkeeping, the PGA, England Golf, they're all working together to kind of combat those issues, and they're going to go to the government when the lockdown starts to ease. They're going to go to the government and say, look, golf can be played in a safe way with social distancing. You know, I'm sure they can put a strong case forward for that. I think it should be pretty easy to get that done.
Yeah, I think it's fingers crossed. Certainly, hopefully everybody kind of takes it with the respect I guess it deserves, and we can kind of get back to at least some amount of normality. I don't know where that sits soon. Yeah, I mean, again, teaching wise is going to be a bit of a tricky one, but and also getting tee times and that kind of stuff for a lot of people. They're talking about like limiting the amount of golf people can play. you know, maybe you can book onto the tee sheet twice a week and no more than twice a week, something like that, or like, yeah, I don't know. That's all kind of going to be a difficult one to kind of.
It's all up in the air, isn't it? I think is the best thing to take away from that. We need to just roll with whatever happens and be grateful that we're out of whatever situation we're in now.
Yeah, I think the kind of argument for sort of opening it up soon is that, like, we've opened the golf club at Broadstone has been open for people to go and walk on for, you know, since lockdown sort of started. We've not discouraged people from going on. I don't know if we've encouraged people to go on, but we certainly made it clear that you are able to go and walk at the golf club. And personally, I think it's been fantastic. Like, I've been up there a couple of times, and just to kind of pick up a few bits and bobs from the shop and have a little walk around the course, see the green stuff and that kind of stuff. And I know you've done the same a couple of times. And I think it's great seeing a lot of members of the public out there and enjoying the surroundings. I mean, it's a stunning place to go and walk.
Agreed,
they're amazing, and you know, there's hundreds of people on the golf course at the moment. So you could argue there's going to be less people on the golf course if golf was allowed to be played, right? You know, if it's one balls or two balls within the family, you know, if you've been isolating or whatever together, you would have potentially like 18, 20 people on the golf course at once, wouldn't you? If you had one ball per hole at any time, obviously moving around.
18 people, for sure.
There's not that many people on the golf course, but, you know, so arguably could be safer to play, but I don't know. It's a tricky one.
Well, we shall see. I just want to also say hats off to our greenkeepers, if any of them are watching. I think the course is looking absolutely phenomenal at the moment. It's just
smoke up their backsides.
No, but you know, like pretty much every golf course, they've got limited staffing at the moment, and the course is looking as good as I've seen it for a long, long time. So obviously, the traffic, the not having as much traffic across the greens and the fairways is helping it, but it's looking brilliant, I think.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think any golf course at the minute is going to. You'd look forward to playing, but yeah, we're certainly lucky at Broadstone. It's like we've had perfect weather, so going up there and torturing ourselves, seeing shots, seeing the golf course in the sun and that kind of stuff. It's like absolutely torture, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, it's certainly looking pretty decent up there, isn't it, at the minute? And got a bit of rain this week.
For sure.
Bit of rain this week and still quite warm, so the growth will be really picking up and that kind of thing. So yeah, it should be looking good. Pretty good. I think that pretty much kind of covers everything. I don't know how long that's been.
I think it's pretty good kind of time we've been talking there.
40 minutes.
Shall we finish it off with a little, what's the first golf course that you're going to play when we come out of lockdown?
Or if you could go and play any course or any hole. Within ourselves,
any course.
Between us, or is this an open question?
We'll go between ourselves, and we'll also open it up to anyone that's watching as well.
Well, I think you can. It's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, if you
so many options.
Play any golf course in the world.
Let's say any golf course in the UK and Ireland.
Okay. Well, I would, after going and after reading that book that I was talking about. There's so many good ones that he talks about.
I can't even think myself now.
I think there's a course called Shiskin that which is on the Isle of Arran that I've been to before.
Oh yeah,
when I was a kid.
Yeah,
it's a 12-hole course, and
all right,
it's out on this peninsula, amazing backdrop, like your classic shots over bays and just beautiful beaches, and a real little like hidden gem, and like there's like elevated tees, and there's loads of funky little par threes where there's like massive mounds, you can't see the flag, and I think there's something from memory, there's something about like you have to raise a flag if you've finished, or you raise a flag once you're off the green as you walk off, and you pull it down when you
Nice.
get there, so that you can't see, so the people on the tee can see when there's someone gone, or when
That's really cool.
finish. But yeah, we went on summer holidays once up there, and I remember that being like a really like isolate. Funny enough, but want to go and have local quiet golf courses to myself, which is funny, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Like a really busy, bustling golf course.
Bustling links course on the Isle of Arran.
I want to go and stand on my own and go play a 12-hole course over and over again on my own. But yeah, that would probably be where I could imagine spending a lot of happy
times.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm ever since working at Broadstone and obviously living in the Dorset area, we're very lucky to have a lot of good heath and golf courses within a couple of hours of us. Not apart from Parkstone.
Don't say Parkstone. You want to go and play Parkstone or Ferndale?
I won't. Don't worry. They're close rivals. But looking an hour, 2 hours up the road, we've got Hampshire and Surrey that boast a lot of very, very good heath and golf courses. Hankley Common, I was very impressed with when last time I played it. But give me any golf course with firm sandy lies and a little bit of heaven, and I'm happy man. So just get me back out there, really.
Any of that.
Be interesting to see what you guys at home would say to that. What's your favourite course you've ever played, or what hole you'd like to play the most? So let us know in whatever way you can, comments or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. You can get us on Instagram at Custom Golf Performance, or ourselves. I think my Instagram handle is Chris_Harrison01. Yours is something
Mine's Jacob_Hunter PGA.
Yeah. So I'm Chris H Golf. You got your own Facebook page. There's plenty of ways. Plenty of ways you can get in contact with us if you want to. Coming up, we're kind of looking to try and include some sort of guests as we go on. So I've already got a couple of sort of decent ideas in the pipeline for who we're going to ask to sort of tag along and answer some questions. So we'll put some bits out on social media as well, just to let you know kind of what's coming up. And even if no one listens to this, mate, it's been quite nice just having a chat with you.
It's been nice, a little chat. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some listeners.
Yeah, if anyone's still listening, then fair play.
Good stuff.
45 minutes long.
You can have a Mars bar when we get back.
Yeah, they're all going to be out of date anyway. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
We'll be giving them away. But yeah, thanks, mate, and we'll catch up with you soon. And
good stuff. See you next week.
Do another one next week. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, good stuff. Cheers. See ya.
Bye.